Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer. I'm here to build a model kit and hang out with you. I am going to throw the Baer Cave Lego the Scythe emote into chat. Thank you very much all for being here. If you're a subscriber, you can reply with that. Also, gotta hit the applause because Harold, thank you so much. Subscribing, tier 1, that's 35 months on a 33-month streak for renewing. Thank you for doing that. 35, I can now be president of the stream. Indeed. But yes, thank you so much. Lashbrook's here. Hi, Lashbrook. Yeah, if you're a subscriber, you can throw the emotes back at me. If you're not a subscriber, you can just say hi or hey or don't say anything. Hey, you don't have to. I like it when you're chatting. You don't have to chat. Very excited tonight. We got our Deathscythe here. Hey, Epic Open World, you're here. Welcome, welcome. We got our Deathscythe, which, as of right now, is just like the Deathscythe you would buy from the 2010 revision of this kit. This is what it would look like. That's just what you would get. Until we add in the wings. We got these wings to put on. These wings. We got to put these wings on this thing. You see there's a wing here closed up. Wing open up. Ooh, it's different. Got to put those on. And we're going to do that. And then we're going to work on the injection machine. The injection machine, which is just the front and back of one piece of paper. It should not take long. It is literally one sheet of plastic, but a few stickers. There's stickers here. So we will have plenty of stickers put on here because this isn't like a this is like a high grade, but it's a non-grade. It's a non-graded thing, but it's literally just the back and front of paper. This came out in 2007, but was never released in the United States outside of some appearances at conventions, but was available as part of the Gundam Online event, where basically Premium Bandai was just like, let's sell the stuff we can't sell because we can't go to conventions, because we only did C2E2 was the last convention we did, and that was in the very beginning of March, the end of February, whenever that was, whenever PAX East was also C2E2, and that's the last event they did. So they've got stuff to sell, so they had like an online event and sold a bunch of stuff, and I was able to get a thing that I've never been able to pick up in a store before and didn't want to ship from Japan because it's only one piece of plastic. It's not worth all of the money it would have cost to get it through a third party, so I never did. We're in this is the hangout zone. You all know this by now. We got the pre-show, we got the intro, then we got the main build phase, then we got the pause for the cause, then we've got the second half of the main phase, which also includes the anime roundup. By now, you know the drill. I kind of got into my rhythm and have kept up with it. Oh, but I also got to say, hey, Mr. Bob, subscribing at tier 1. That's 37 months on a 37-month streak. Thank you so much. Let's throw those emotes in there. Thank Mr. Bob for renewing your subscription. Appreciate it very much, my friend. Yeah, definitely trying to get people to renew, to subscribe. We had, literally a month ago, we got Bobby High Roller gifted 10 subs, and those 10 expired because my numbers dropped by 10 since Saturday, the last stream. So I noticed it. And we are in we're in the sweet spot right now where it's just above 40 subscribers. We are currently at 42 subscribers. And 40 subscribers is basically the lowest I'd like to be because I didn't get a payout last month, which means this month's payout will be good, but I want to make sure the next month's payout is also good. 40 subscribers is a great way to get to me that monthly payout, which I use to buy model kits. So I don't have to use my other money to buy model kits, and I can use that other money to pay my other bills, because I still have them. Try not to have those bills, still got those bills. So if you haven't subscribed, consider doing it. And yeah, or gift a sub, join that leaderboard. Jump up on that leaderboard there. All right, I'm going to retweet my tweet here, being like, hey, we're building, finishing a cool kit, starting another one. That's the deal. When do we get to complain about Twitch? Well, Harold, let's get into this build, but yeah, that is probably the first topic of conversation. There are two things I kind of want to talk about from the world of games and gaming. One is Twitch, and then we will kind of talk a little bit about the fairly minor in the grand scheme of things, brouhaha that happened today. Gaming Twitter had a lot of thoughts about influencers and influence culture, and what does it mean to be an influencer, and can you really be objective? And obviously, there's no such thing as pure objectivity, but can you be at least knowing, can you be aware of your issues with things? And then a thing that like a couple people talked about that I do want to get into a little bit, which is the idea that like if a game company developers make an announcement about like a milestone in their game, shouldn't you like celebrate that and not bring up the hardships they're currently dealing with? Which I don't agree with. Like when Ubisoft, like if a team, like let's say that there's an Ubisoft game and they're like, we went gold, it's totally reasonable to talk about, this is awesome. I also, in addition to thinking this is awesome, hope that folks that are dealing with a lot of garbage at Ubisoft as a company culture can get the support they need, both financially and psychologically, and as a culture. I think that's totally fair and totally up for grabs, and it doesn't take anything away from it. So, like, if you're, let's say, Jason Schreier, and you are, you can totally comment on, oh, cool, CD Projekt Red hit this milestone. But also, I hope this means that some of their workers can, will face better conditions. And that is appropriate. That's not raining on their parade. They also, like, it's looking out for them. They're dealing with harsh working conditions. And you're, like, acknowledging that you're on their side. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Now, it did get to it. So basically, Jason Schreier says this, gets retweeted by a streamer, an influencer named Paris, who is known, not huge, certainly not, doesn't have the audience that Jason Schreier does, but he's just like, why are you going to rain on the parade? Why are you going to make it, it feels like you, almost feels like you have an agenda, which is, if he does, if Jason Schreier has an agenda, that agenda would be, I want more people to read my articles about crunch at CD Projekt Red. That would be his agenda. Now, you could say, oh, his agenda is he wants to do damage to the company. I guess you could make that accusation. Certainly not. I don't think Paris was doing that. But he was insinuating that Schreier has something to gain from talking about this, which I don't think he does at all. But if he does, what he has to gain from it is like a change at a company, which we should be psyched about. And then I will say, Jason, I think made an error, in my opinion, made an error in judgment, which was, because he, I think rightfully was just like, what? Real? Come on. He retweeted it with his own commentary, which he didn't need to do. He could have replied. He could have done nothing. Just gone about his day, known, okay, this guy doesn't think that what I'm doing is a good thing. All right, fine. Instead of retweeting it with his own commentary, which I don't think he needed to do, and also specifically saying like, hey, I don't think you're being objective, you're an influencer, and then, had a photo of a tweet of him, Paris received a gaming chair from CD Projekt Red, a cyberpunk themed gaming chair, and it's like, well, you can't be objective. Which, like, I don't disagree with. Now, I am not saying maliciously. I'm not saying that Paris was being malicious. I think Jason didn't need to do it and stoop too low, and it was unnecessary. Here is the problem. Jason gets aggressive when he doesn't need to be. Epic Open World, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't think that was aggressive at all. I think it was unnecessary. I think it did open up the conversation in a way it didn't need to go. He could have just said in a reply, or not at all, and just subtweeted and said, hey, I get blowback like this occasionally. Um, it's not a reporter's job to make sure that there's the people they're talking about feel good about their piece. That is an influencer's job, is to make sure that the people that are paying them like what they're saying, which is, that is just part of the deal. Um, but but it is a thing that, like, by mentioning the influencer part, which I don't think is inaccurate, it does change the conversation some, which it didn't need to change. Um, because, like, a issue that influencers have is it's hard to be critical about things that pay you. It's hard to be objective about things that pay you. It's very difficult to do that, especially if your payment involves not being honest about those things. Uh, so maybe if you have been given a gamer chair by CD Projekt Red, maybe don't talk about CD Projekt Red at all because you've been given a gamer chair. Um, that was a thing that, like, now this is a bad example because this is a bad example I'm about to give. But I think it was a good policy. Giant Bomb's policy is if you put an ad that runs on our programming, then we don't deal with whatever we put an ad with because that's a conflict, right? So if you have a board game and you advertise your board game on the podcast, on the Giant Bombcast, they're not going to play your board game. Now, obviously, now they can't anyway, but they're not going to play your board game. Even if they wanted to, they're not going to cover it because you gave them ad money, so now they can't do it. It's in bad conscience. And I think that is a good way to handle it. I often say, I don't say it every time, but I often say, and I try to, and I'll probably say it again tonight, hey, I get a free account, premium account from Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll gives me a free premium account. It is an employee there made the determination that since I talk about anime a lot on my streams, why not help me out by doing that? That is a thing that he can do, and he has chosen to do that with me. Do I have an agreement with Crunchyroll about what I can and can't say, what I must and must not cover? No, I have no thing at all. You can still take everything I say about Crunchyroll with a grain of salt. When I say it's a better player and a better viewing experience than Funimation's web viewer, that's my honest opinion, but you can also take that with a grain of salt, and I'm okay with that. I'm fine with you taking what I have to say with a grain of salt because I don't pay for my Crunchyroll account. So, like, if you want to be like about it, like, yeah, be about it. Like, I am being honest with you about these things, but I'm also, a human person, and, like, maybe I am occasionally subconsciously like yes, it did invite dogpiling, as Epic says. It invited dogpiling from the shitty parts of the gaming community. Yeah, on both sides, right? Because the thing is, it's very it's very difficult when you reach a certain level of audience to be able to weed out the assholes. Now, you might have weeded out your own, like a small community like this, I can weed people out. A large community, a large amount of followers, you can't. So there are people who are going to act in bad faith that are from bad parts of the internet. There are also going to be people who take advantage of this, right? They're like, because they're looking for a way to, an excuse, I should say, to, I got to get a piece to fill, talk shit about a marginalized voice. Or talk shit about Jason, who is somebody who says things that they don't like and don't agree with. Jason has often reported things that were true, but were things that people didn't want to hear because it wasn't the kind of thing they wanted to read because it was like delays or something. It was something they didn't want to see, and it was easier to just be mad at Jason than it was to accept that his reporting was accurate. Linus Tech Tips just did a video on where their money comes from, and I wish more creators do that yearly breakdown like that. Yeah, Mr. Bob, I think that's like, like, A couple of Unraveled on Polygon lately have been sponsored. That's Brian David Gilbert's series. And they've been sponsored, and they make it very clear, and they've actually, in the case of the one that posted today, made it a part of it. It was like a part of the process, was acknowledging that this is sponsored, and oh yeah, okay, well, we're making this Crash Bandicoot thing, and then the people are asking about where he is and all this other stuff. Like, they made it part of the thing. This does not want to stay on. That's frustrating. All right, we'll get it on as best we can. Let's move on to the other one and keep going. But yeah, like I said, I like it when people talk about sponsorships. I like that. I know that sometimes some audience does not want to hear that this is sponsored. Like, if you're playing a game on stream, right? I don't know, Pat. In 2020, I'm more likely with the marginalized person than with the white guy with a huge following. And I will counter that, Epic Open World, with I'm often more interested in the professional journalist than I am in the influencer. Because influencers don't have to have ethics. I'm not saying that Paris doesn't have ethics, but I am saying that Paris doesn't need to have them to be an entertainer, to be a influencer, to be somebody who in the entertainment business, that he doesn't need any of those things. So I do agree that you certainly want to listen to folks that are especially marginalized voices. I also say, you mentioned Ka. I disagree with Ka about a lot of things. He and I disagree all the time. I do listen to him because I think he's like fucking does know what he's talking about, and he's a great, he's got, I think like he does have in-depth opinions on a lot of things. But I also don't necessarily want to be like, every time like that's like, that's not, it is important to listen, certainly. But I do think in this case it was an overreaction on one hand, and part of the thing that we as gamers, and especially people who are also enthusiasts, have to turn off the part of their brains where they remember that people are suffering to make the things that we like, because it's fucking rough to think about that. I'm going to talk about anime later, and animation working conditions aren't great in a lot of places, especially the outsourced CG. When I talk about how sometimes the CG that's added into fights looks terrible, I don't add the part where, and also those Chinese, that the studios that are doing that CG are paid terribly, even compared to the animators in Japan. Like, I'm not bringing that up, and I should bring that up more. I'm focusing on I don't think it looks good, and it's a mismatch, and it doesn't blend particularly well. I'm not bringing up the fact that, it fucking sucks for those folks. What's up? I'm glad I jumped into this discourse when I did. Yeah, it's welcome. It is a rough thing, and like I said, I do think that people have to be very clear about dogpiling, right, and being careful. Like, it didn't need to go where it did today, and it shouldn't have gone where it went. And I think that's a thing that hopefully everyone can agree on. That it is a frustrating thing when that happens. But also Harold says, if a dev publisher gives me a game to play on screen, I always disclose it. Yeah, you got it. I've had visibility on both sides with dev publishing experience, and seeing how the creator influence pushed those narratives. Yeah, certainly. And there are audiences that don't want to hear that. Audiences generally are the younger fans. If they like a streamer, right? In case of a streamer, right? They like that streamer. They want to see that streamer have fun with the game. They don't want to find out. They want to live in this blissful state where the developer, the influencer is just like, oh, this is the new game I'm checking out. Oh, I liked it. It was fun. They don't want to hear that I have a deal to play this game. Some want to hear that, but others don't, because they're like, oh, well, then you're just being paid to play the game. And it's like, well, if they're a Hearthstone streamer, they're not being paid by Blizzard to play Hearthstone, but they are being paid via Twitch, being your subscriptions and ad revenue to play that game. They're still being paid to play that game. It's just that also they're going to take some time out of to play a game that they directly financially benefit from, but they're always financially benefiting from it. Uh, and also, I know you don't want to think about the you not you personally, but uh, you don't want to think about how a person that you're watching play streams um, might not like the game they're playing anymore. But well, I built my audience playing PUBG or Hearthstone or League of Legends, and the vast majority of my audience wants me to see me play that, and they'll deal with me playing Among Us for a little while. But I better be putting in some hours in the game that I'm known for, and it's a job. And they might like the game, but they also maybe like don't want to play it for 6 hours. They want to play it for 2 hours, and they want to play, you know, yeah, like I said, Among Us, or they want to go back to Fall Guys, even though Fall Guys has dripped a little bit and their audience drops a little bit, but they like it. And some streamers just go ahead and fucking just do that. They just go, you know what, I'm going to play what I want to play for a little while, and I'll deal with the fact that my numbers dropped because I'm not playing the thing you want me to play. Like, oh, it's very clear that my audience does not enjoy uh, Animal Crossing, but I fucking love it, so I'm going to play more Animal Crossing today, and I'll just deal with all of the my mods will have to deal with the comments of people demanding I play a thing they want to see me play. Um, some audiences don't want to engage with that or hear that or think about that stuff. And I get that. I understand it. I don't agree. I definitely don't agree with it, but I understand it because, like, it's all fucking part of it. Uh, what is going on here? Did I pull the wrong piece out? I may have snapped the wrong piece out. This was D. This will be D12. Nope, that looks right. Oh, okay, I got it. I got it. But yeah, at the end of the day, uh, like, I had trouble saying negative things about harmonics because I had a bunch of friends working at harmonics. It made it a lot easier for me to say what I really thought about harmonics games when everyone I liked that worked there and knew that worked there left, and I only knew a couple people there, and the people I knew there had nothing to do with the games that were being made. They just worked there. It made it a lot easier for me to be able to say, all right, well, I don't like this. It made it so much easier to say, like, oh, you know what? That game is not for me at all. And or wow, it's so weird. There's like a new rock band thing out, and I've never heard of it and had no concept it was coming out. That's so weird. Like, it's a lot easier for me to say stuff like that when nobody I know is still working there. Um, because even if I can be like, honest or whatever, or it's still hard, right? When I talk about the culture and the harassment uh, at Ubisoft, there's a part of me that's like, and I have friends that work there, and I hope that they're in good positions, and I hope that me talking about it doesn't hurt them, but I'm not going to not talk about it just because they work there. It's like a thing. Uh, and it's complicated. All that shit is complicated. But pretending like it doesn't exist just because, like, a perceived notion that you might be hurting the feelings of people who are making the thing that you want to enjoy. Like, oh no. It's all rough and tough to deal with, and I understand. But shit, man. I don't know what I. Anyway, that was that was a big internet thing. And also, I will say I did, you know, get to be able to talk a little bit about one of my favorite influencer gaffes ever. One of my absolute top 10 biggest, oh, you can't see yourself right now thing, which was Rooster Teeth. Some folks from Rooster Teeth that had a segment sponsored by Bethesda in favor of Fallout. We're talking about some of the negative reviews and negative comments about Fallout 4, particularly done by Jeff Gersman. And as they're being critical of him being critical of the game, they are all wearing Pip-Boys that they received from Bethesda. Hey, Dirty, welcome, welcome. And it's unbelievable because, like you can say, like, oh, I still liked it, or, you know, the settlement system was great, or I dug the companions, or, like, I think, you know, the fact that VATS slowed time down but didn't pause time is an interest. You can say the positives you want about Fallout. You can't say that it wasn't a buggy mess without being a liar, because it was a buggy mess, because it's a modern Fallout game done by Bethesda, so it's a mess. Like, you can't not say that. And if you do say something like that, I will believe that you are either have bought in because you have been sponsored, or you are, and so you're blind to it, or you are afraid of upsetting the people that pay your bills, and which I understand and get. Yes, also them being critical of a fellow media member is like a weird thing. It's a weird look, as they as that company has also like gotten into game dev a bit, and it's like this thing you could mod it into a truly good game with enough community created workarounds and fixes. Yeah, it was not just any mess. Jade meant separate console scores because the console could not keep up with the game at release. Yes, Mr. Bob. It was also specific that, you know, he was specifically, you know, giving it different scores because there were versions that didn't work as well as other versions. Uh, and yeah, it's like, I mean, being critical of a Bethesda game is nothing new and shouldn't be a shocking thing unless you are trying to defend Bethesda for some reason, which they certainly were. All right, so we got our wings here. I'm gonna do the these first of all. Check out these motherfucking wings. Boom! Look at how fucking dope these wings are. Please acknowledge these are just wonderful, beautiful looking wings. This is the new part. These are good wings, right? Yes, these are awesome new parts. This is the new part of the kit. And then we can, we gotta do, let's see if I can figure out how to do this part here. These wings do a different thing that I don't know why they do it because I don't remember the manga. It's been a long time since I read this manga. These parts slide out. Come on. How does this slide out? Come on. Let me just pop this off here so I can. All right, so that slides like that, and then this slides out. Oop. There we go. Didn't want to slide out. And then they fold. Oops. Oop, that just popped out. That's not good. As I just try to get this new thing that does a thing that I don't know how it does it, and try not to mess anything up as I do this. Whoops. Pardon me as I fix this part of the kit. Fixing this part of the kit. There we go. That honestly looks so fragile. Lashbrook, it is fairly fragile, I will say. It's because of, I think, of all of the parts here that pop out that it does feel more fragile than normal. This kind of kit would normally be. Yeah, I would say that this is not. Yeah, this is not the like most stable thing because these wings are thin and because they are meant to pop out and fold. So it goes like this, and then it doesn't do that though. Okay, that does it. All right, let me do it like this. That turns. Got it. Okay. That was partly on me. Are there any resources for people learning how to be social media personalities who feel like everyone likes to make the same old mistakes? Mr. Bob, I think a lot of it is trial and error. I think that you can look at, honestly, one of the things I would say is if there's somebody you really like out there, you think they do a great job, they might not, but they might have a account or their YouTube might have like a video of like things I've learned from, or any kind of blog format where they talk about where they came from and the mistakes they made and what they've learned. I think a lot of people have that. Hello. So this is the Roussette unit, the Gundam Deathscythe Roussette unit. It is based on the manga. There's a manga that's set after Gundam Wing, and it is basically it takes the original models, the first 5, and adds stuff to them. So the Shenlong Gundam has a huge sword, and it has a chain to the shield. The Heavy Arms has like even more weapons, and even like its legs have like bracers so they can do more. The Deathscythe has these cool wings, and the kits themselves are their old versions, they're re-released. So this is the 2010. We built the Shenlong, and that was the 2012 re-release. So it's the original parts, but then there are extra parts. So there's literally like an extra thing here. And it's 144 scale. This is the 1/100 master grade. So it's a 1/100 master grade, but it's the old revision of the master grade with new parts. In this case, it's the wings that do that. So I'm going to take a photo of this, the 1/100 here. I'm just going to take a quick photo of it, and then we'll finish up with the old parts because I like showing off the wings like this. And then we'll finish the old parts here, and we'll build the rest of it with the new wings and the new look. And it is a little fragile of a new backpack here because these wings are pretty lightweight, but I think it still looks very cool. And yeah, now we'll build the scythe. Yeah, I think I don't disagree with you in that people should, at a certain point, should go in for some media training. I don't think media training would hurt folks that, or at the very least, like, like at a certain point, if you've gotten like, media training I think is really important. I think that best practices, the ethics of business, like there are a lot of things that some people don't think about, and they make mistakes early on that could come back to haunt them because they are not engaging in good faith, or they're not working with people who are engaging in good faith. And a lot of times it can get them in hot water. But yeah, I don't disagree. I think it just benefits them to have some sort of awareness of all that. I think a lot of people just learn as they go, and they don't scale up. Oh, no problem. You can see the title. That's totally okay. I have no, you could still have some questions about what does Roussette unit mean? Like, you're not, I wouldn't say, like, I forget the names of all of the extra parts for these kits, and they're weird. Like, I think that the Sandrock is called the Armadillo unit, but I don't remember because I don't really love the Sandrock, so I never really investigated it. Uh, how do you mean I broke the law? Exactly. Uh, Dan and the Money Booth. Yes, Dirty. Yes. That when we conceived it, we did know fully that as soon as we made it Dave Lang's money, Dan couldn't keep that money. There's no way that even in a game format like we did, there was no way that that Dan Reichert could accept money from Dave Lang. You can't do that. Dave Lang, runs a game company. Like, no, we can't. Dan can't do that. We knew that going into it. We also, I'll be honest, didn't think Dan was going to answer any of those. I mean, I wrote all those questions, and I wrote them in ways that, like, for Dan to succeed, but also did not think that Dan would succeed as well as he did in answering those questions, even though I wrote them to be funny and to give him time. Do you prep your models when they're on spruces by washing them? I don't do any prep, washing or cleaning or anything like that. The only prep I really do is I read the booklet sometimes if it's a kit that like. Okay. So here's the prep I do. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That bit is one of my favorite things we've ever done. I've ever done. It was certainly, I think, our best. It was the best prank I got involved with because looking back on it, it's not. None of our Russian accents were great, and none of us should have been doing Russian accents when we did the gamebomb.ru. We were proud. There was a way to do that bit that was less bad than we did it. But I was just happy to be a part of things, honestly. So kind of went along with it. But that bit I think was solid. No, so here's the prep I do. If I don't know how to say the name of the model kit, if I'm looking at the model kit and I'm like, I have no idea how to say this at all. I have no idea how to pronounce this. I will watch a review on YouTube. Usually one or two, depending on if I can say that, and hear how they say it. And then I also will watch if the kit is somewhat confusing or odd, or especially if it's like a real grade where there's going to be a trick to it and like a gimmick. I'll watch to get a sense of how it comes together, what people think of it, that kind of thing. I'll often go and take a look at that. So that's the prep I do mostly, is just check out to see if it's a problematic build or not. And then I will often look at the instructions, particularly with a real grade or an RE100, because those kits are often very odd because they are very specific, weird builds. So I will check that out too. Dan has learned a lot of media personal person lessons in the public eye. Yep, Dan is, like, don't prank a game developer or publisher. You can't do that. He's learned a few things here and there over time. While at work, people have learned. I think that, like, training would definitely, there are definitely people, and also, like, nobody can predict when they're going to blow the fuck up. So, like, have it in your mind. I don't have any mods right now. Right now, I do not need mods, and that is not a request I'm interested in making to members of my community. But there may appear a time in my life, there may suddenly become a time in my life where I'm going to need mods because I'm going to have a burst for something. Hopefully something positive. Hopefully we'll get like positive attention for something that I've done, and suddenly I have more eyes on the product and can't keep up with chat, right? And if that happens, immediately what I can do is turn on slow. I can do slow mode. for chat if suddenly, or emotes only for chat if it suddenly becomes an issue in the moment. And then as things grow, acknowledge that, okay, now I need mods to do all that. I have had those thoughts because I think those thoughts are helpful. Like I said, this is like those are what ifs, but I've at least thought about those what ifs, because if I don't think about those what ifs, I can get caught and be overwhelmed, and I certainly would not want to be overwhelmed. Austin Walker has talked about being careful once you reach a certain level of social media following. Yes. Yes, and I would agree with you, Epic Open World, that that Schreier, I think, uses the quote retweet too often, and that is an issue. And I think that, yeah, like, I remember, so my PAX East, I did a Kickstarter for PAX East this year. No, sorry, it wasn't it wasn't a Kickstarter. It was a GoFundMe because it was kind of last minute. So what happened was I had a as now and forever unnamed sponsor. I had a sponsor for PAX East. I was going to have a hotel room. They were going to pay for my train trip or my bus trip. We were working out the logistics of the second half. The first half was done. They had a hotel room for me. They were going to take care of me. They were going to do incidentals. I was going to do a little work for them. They were sponsoring the trip, right? I was going to shoot some videos for their channel, and I was going to mention them if and when I live streamed. Guaranteed that I would live stream while I was there as well and talk about them. This was an agreement. This was a deal. We figured it all out. It was going to work out great. It was going to be good for them. It was going to be incredible for me, because it was basically the only way I was going to be able to go to PAX East. And then the deal fell through. And it fell through almost immediately after I got my panels for PAX approved. Like, literally, I think it was like 2 days after, I suddenly did not have transportation covered. I did not have a hotel room, but I had already gotten slots at PAX. So I could have said, hey, I'm not going. But instead, I was like, let's see if I can get some money from GoFundMe, right? I have pretty good engagement with people. I've asked for help, and people have been incredibly generous to me in the past. I figured, okay, this is worth going. This is an odd situation. People will hopefully be able to help me out. And they did. And I think if people who know me were kind of bummed out that I was asking for help, would have been like, well, I can understand that. You know what? I'm not going to give, but like, I get why this is going on. But like, I'm just not going to. I'm just not going to. Dirty says, did unknown sponsors sound like Funfla? No. I won't say what it was. But it was. It was a media company. That's all I'll say. It was a media company that made the choice not to go and sponsor kind of last minute. But anyway, so I think the people that might have felt negative about it, they weren't going to tweet at me like, Pat, this is weird, or anything like that. They were probably just going to think those thoughts and, like, go about their day and just be like, okay. I got some retweets from some people who have some following on the internet, and most of the time that was just like, hey, Pat could use some help if you think about it, or they just did a solid retweet, didn't say anything specific, just were like, I'm going to retweet this, and then we'll see if that helps. One of those people was Austin Walker. Austin Walker reaches an audience who doesn't know who I am, has no idea who I am. And some of those people, because and I'll say this, rightfully so, understandably so, Austin reaches a lot of people who are in marginalized communities. And they're just seeing a guy they don't know. They're seeing someone they don't know, who is white and male presenting, say, hey, I would like to have money please. And they're like, who's this guy? And I don't know all the details, and I don't know you. I just know that you're asking for money. Well, why did you agree to do these panels if you didn't have the money to go there, which is a reasonable thing to say. And I didn't, and I made the choice. I'm not going to respond to people. I'm just ignore it. If they follow up, I'll follow up. If they send me a DM, I'll reply. But I'm not going to engage. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm going to keep doing my work. They're not wrong for asking these questions. Okay, and we'll just go that way. And that's after just knowing things, and I was like, it's not worth fighting. It's not worth trying to correct them because they're not wrong. They're just feeling their feelings, and like, it's not my place to be like, no, well, I need to defend myself, right? Because if they were being nasty about it, then I'll just block them. What do I care? They don't care about me. They're not going to be future fans. Fine. I ended up opening myself up to a wider audience by a friend of mine choosing to support me. And that's like, yeah, that's part of it. And I can understand that, right? Like, we talked about on Saturday, we talked about Kickstarter. One of the reasons my first Kickstarter, way back in the day, was a success is because within minutes of me putting it up, Vinny Caravelle retweeted. And a lot of people who might have then looked at me and said, oh, Pat's been on the Bombcast or Beastcast. He's been on the Bombcast. Oh, I know him from PAX. Oh, yeah, Pat Baer. Oh, cool. Yeah, all right. I don't follow him on Twitter. All right. Sure. Or they may have looked at it and gone like, well, if Vinny wants me to, like, I'll at least look at it. I'll look at the video. I'll look at the Kickstarter page because Vinny retweeted it. I'll at least take a look. It's like those things help and can mean a lot. And like, I try to, put things out there for my audience when it's things that I think are rad and think things are awesome. And then also sometimes things that just like people could use a boost, especially because people were so good to me that like, if I can be good to other people, I certainly will. And I think that's like, but it's also responsibility, right? Like, the thing that always bums me out is if somebody who follows me, who I don't have control over who follows me, someone follows me and like replies to me and the person I'm retweeting and is not awesome, like, that's a bummer. I hate that. It's like, no, don't. You didn't have to do that. You could have done nothing. Why didn't you choose nothing? It's a small little thing, but like, it's like, don't. Be funnier or be nicer or be better if you're going to retweet my tweets or if you're going to respond to my retweets. Like, come on. Or if like you have a follow-up question, ask me the question. Don't ask the person I'm retweeting. Be better about that. It's a whole thing. Look, it's just a whole thing, y'all. Anyway. I'd also feel weird if people were like gonna ask me, like, I don't know, like I've retweeted people's, OnlyFans or Patreons or other things, and then occasionally people are like, who is this person? Why would I help them? And I'm like, well, there's someone I think is great because I'm following them and I talk to them and they're like someone I know or respect. So like, I don't know, you don't have to, but like, maybe you know me and you know that I like things that are cool. So just take my word for it. That has been that is a frustrating thing. That is the old Twitter etiquette, right? Like, when I talked earlier today about it reminding me about the Fallout 4, I didn't mention Rooster Teeth. I said YouTube people. I didn't say at Jeff Gersman. I said Jeff. There are people who would get it, and there are people who wouldn't get it. Now, that did get retweeted or did get replied to by Steve Fobwashed, who like linked the thing. So like, it wouldn't be too hard to follow up in my thread and see that if you wanted to. But I was like, I don't have to say the name of these people for it still to be an anecdote that like makes that like people would go like, what? That happened? Weird. I just had my own experience with Austin Walker responding to a tweet of mine that did not go great, and I was just joking around. So yeah, Twitter sucks. Twitter can indeed suck. Yes, Epic Open World. Yes, you were being fun and being like you were making a thing, but the problem was in that particular instance is intention is always difficult, especially when people don't know each other. I know that when you're like, oh, it's that future we always wanted, it being real Gundams, I know that you are joking because I nobody wants real Gundams, but Austin knows very well in the same way I know very well that there are people out there that like Gundam because they like the cool robot part, but they don't think about all the other parts, like the child soldiers and the relentless war and the human failures and human cruelty. And they don't think about any of those parts. So when you say, this is the future we've all been waiting for, Austin just acknowledged that it was like, I'm not waiting for that. Like, you just had a human reaction, which is a bummer, because then other people are also, even if Austin got your joke, right? Let's say Austin got your joke. Not everyone's going to get that joke, which sucks. Yeah, it's Twitter can suck ass a lot. Sometimes it's fucking rad as hell. Sometimes it can be cool and it can be fun. And it can be cathartic. But a lot of times it just sucks ass. It's just a big nightmare shit pile. And sometimes it's not the worst. Sometimes it's not the worst. All right. So we are done with our kit. We've got our weapons here. We're gonna put our got our beam scythe. We got our buster shield / drone. We got our cool wings. Well, that's it. I follow a lot of Japanese pet accounts to take the edge off the crumminess. Yeah, I mean, you find your joy in the places you can find it. I don't disagree with that at all. That philosophy of like finding some accounts that you like. I follow a bunch of bots that are weirdo bots that remind you of the old way Twitter was. The old Twitter of just nonsense bots that can be very fun. Because I think that is a great way to enjoy Twitter, is to just pick a nonsense thing and become obsessed with that nonsense thing. All right, so let's do this. Gotta get this hand on here. And then we can get some photos. Because we finished up this Deathscythe. Now, is this Deathscythe worth the price I paid for it? The pre-order, waiting, all of that stuff? I think so. I think this thing looks cool as hell. I like these wings. I like having Deathscythes in my collection. I like building Deathscythes. I will say, you have to know if you're going to buy any of these. You're going to buy the Sandrock, the Deathscythe, the Altron, the Heavy Arms. You just have to know that I'm buying. You just have to know when you get these that they're old kits with some new parts. This isn't the 2020 edition of the Gundam Deathscythe. This is the 2010 edition of the Gundam Deathscythe with a couple new parts on it. And these new parts are cool. But if you're like, well, I just built one of those, like, don't get it again for just a few new parts. Also, I gotta get this beam to stay on. I don't know why it won't. So we can take a photo here. Totally unrelated. Started Genshin Impact. Asked for a character name. Had no idea, so I named her Anime. That's a great name. That's a great name. All right, I'm going to get a photo of this, and then we're going to move on to the injection machine. We'll talk about it a little bit. Have a good night, Harold. Thanks for being here, as always, my friend. Appreciate it, and thank you for renewing your subscription. All right, let's get this Deathscythe with wings, normal, and scythe, and beam. Hell yeah. Photo done. What? I don't know why it... Oh, waifu. Weird. The most perfect name for that game. Breath of the Waifu. I don't know why... Well, now waifu is a now permitted term. I don't know why Nightbot was like... Why that... Every once in a while, there's a term that shows up in the auto, question that shows up in the mod tools, and I'm always just like, has that not come up since I put in Nightbot mod stuff? Weird. But yeah. My favorite was still when we were talking about FLCL. If people kept getting paused because you can't spam capital letters in chat. And so people were just typing that. Nightbot probably has controversial opinions as who's the best of them. Yeah, indeed. I mean, most likely, look, I'll be real. Nightbot is probably doing the right thing by saying, hey, did you want this person to talk about waifus? That's probably for the best. We don't really talk about waifus in this channel. We do talk about best girls and best boys, because there are a lot of best boys. But, like, we don't always talk about those things. All right, I'm going to put this back in its box here. Finish up this great kit. We'll talk about this next kit a little bit. We will take a pause for the cause in a moment or two. But at the very least, oh, yeah. So the injection machine is just one piece. It's double-sided. This was a 2007 kit that I got as part of the Gundam Expo, where you can buy things that they would normally just sell at conventions. This is, oh yeah, we got to go to the right photo here. So that's what this looks like. Dude, yeah. Water. Do I still? I thought that was still a command. Oh, I actually got rid of the water command. I did get rid of the water command, but you're not wrong. It is water time. I had to add a bunch of stuff for, that's right. I got rid of the water command because I had to add a bunch of new commands when I was doing my charity stream, and I wanted to keep it all on one page for Nightbot. So I got rid of the water command, but that's a thing to put back. I'll make a note to put that back in because that is a good command to have. But yeah, I got rid of a bunch of commands so that I could add things for that charity stream, and then also I wanted to add the YouTube command, which we never use, but is good to have. And I was tired of the honk and the goose commands, so I got rid of those. Anyway, this is an injection machine. If you're asking yourself, Pat, what's an injection machine? The injection machine makes plastics into these sheets. So we are going to make a model kit of the thing that makes model kits. A injection machine that injects plastic in the molds made this piece. An injection machine made this, and then we're going to make a model kit of the thing that made this. It is Inception. You are not wrong. It is Gunpla Inception. Now, as I said, I think earlier, there are a bunch of stickers for this. We're going to need some stickers to put on. Again, this was 2007, so not a lot of English in this instruction. In fact, no English instruction, just numbers and arrows. So we'll follow along for that. Yeah, there's literally no English in this, which they tend to be some. So we'll have to go and look at that to make sure we got the right stickers to put on, that we're putting the right pieces on the right spots, and getting things in the right area. And yeah, this is going to be, I think, a fun assembly, a fun thing to put together. It's one tray. It is the thin. Look at this box. This is a high. This is like. Look how thin this box is. This is a 160 scale. Also, it's a 160 scale. Yes, this is a Bandai Hobby Center original. So originally, outside of the fact that it's in conventions, originally you could only buy this by going to a Bandai Hobby Center. You go to Bandai Hobby Center, and it was a thing that you could only buy in those stores, in physical locations. And then they decided to make a few. That's why you can see the Bandai photo there. They decided to make a few of them available at conventions, and they had some stock left, so they sold them during the Gunpla Expo. And I was like, I need to build this. I've always wanted to build this. Now, we are going to get to building that, but first we're going to take a pause for the cause. That's right, folks. This is a couple minutes where I tell you ways you can support the channel. If you're interested in doing that, you're under no obligation to do so. If you want to just hang out here and just watch me talk for a couple minutes, I'll get back to building very soon. But it is important for me to talk about ways you can support the channel if you'd like to. If you're currently a subscriber, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego. If you're tier 2, you can throw the Scythe emote in the chat. Dirty just did. Let the people know that is the smallest little thing I can say is a thank you to being a subscriber. Using your Twitch Prime coin or your Twitch gaming coin because you have Amazon Prime linked with your Twitch. Aristofans here with the tier 2. Appreciate that. Or you can use Cash Money. And a portion of that goes to me. And I get that once a month. And that goes to buying model kits. That is, the way that I support myself to continue to build things is with money that comes in from all y'all. I do other work to pay my other bills, and then this goes in there. I also have a Patreon. If you were like, well, Pat, I can't do $5 a month. I would do $1 or $3 a month. Well, those are other tiers that I have on my Patreon. If you're watching this on YouTube, hey, YouTube, you can see this all in the show description. I'm linking all this. If you're watching this later on VOD, turn the chat on. Because I understand when I watch VODs, I don't always watch the chat because it's weird. But you just turn the chat and look it over here. Look at what I'm putting in. I'm putting in links to things. I have a Patreon. You can support me there if you wanted to do that. You can also do it direct if you just want a one-time thing. And as I said, anything that comes in, Patreon, Twitch, direct donations from Coffee and Streamlabs and PayPal, all go to me buying model kits and equipment. But I'm good on equipment right now. I just always want to have model kits. Gots to have model kits. Speaking of model kits, I have an Amazon wish list. Now, what I'm building right now is stuff that I purchased. And I'm building those and I'm putting them up and figuring out like when I'm going to build them and, okay, in what order, going to the next kit. Like I have the injection machine. I know what I'm going to build after that, probably. But you could make me jump ahead to something else. Not build the stuff in my backlog. Put that aside. Oh, you've got the Aravan. You've had that for months. Don't build that. Build something that I bought you on the Amazon wish list. Because I have an Amazon wish list. There's a bunch of stuff on here. And if you buy it, comes to me, I build it ahead of time because I always want to build the stuff that you've paid for because that's rad. I've got inexpensive Lego sets. I've got inexpensive high grades on there. I've got expensive high grades on there because there are a few high grades out there that are a little pricey, like the GP Rye 210 or Rye 210. That's a hard thing to say. That's a $31 high grade. That's a $32 high grade. That's an expensive high grade. But it's also a giant, big, thick boy with huge extra arms, like shoulder-mounted arms. It's the ogre from Build Divers with extra stuff on top of it. It's nonsense. I'll build that. There are real grades and high grades and master grades and RE100 kits. Things that are priced very expensive. Like, am I telling you to go out and spend $72 on the Turn X Gundam from Turn A? Don't spend $72 on me. That's beautiful of you. But that's in there in case there's a price drop. Like, if there's a price drop and it suddenly becomes reasonable, yeah, get that for me. That'd be rad. But, like, don't go out of your way. But again, anything you buy on there, I'll build as soon as I can. That jumps the queue, and it'll be like the next thing I build. An alternative, if Amazon's not your deal, and I get that and understand that, is you could buy me a gift card at USA Gundam Store. Go to USA Gundam Store, buy a gift card. They send it to your email. You get a code. You whisper me on Twitch. You DM me on Twitter, and you're like, hey, here's a gift card. Buy something on there. I might pre-order something. You could also be like someone and said, hey, there's a Cup of Noodle model kit that taking pre-orders from here. Please get that and build that. So sometime next month, because it's coming in October, so sometimes the end of this month, whenever it ships, I'm going to get that cup noodle that someone gave me money to get, and I'll build that. That'll be like its own wish list thing, which is a nice little alternative. Also, I'm building the Teen Gohan, the Ultimate Gohan action figure model kit, because Harold, who left the stream but was here earlier, Harold picked that up or gave me a gift card in order to get that. I have a Discord. We're going to go back to building in just a minute. Just going to get through this real quick. You can join my Discord. It's chill. I post build photos after every stream. People post the stuff they're working on. It's a good way to keep up. If you don't want to be on Twitter all the time, you can see when I'm building stuff, or when I'm like working on stuff, and the videos I put up there as well. Speaking of videos, Get to this real quick, and then we got to talk about anime, and we got to start this injection machine. Uh, let's see. Pet Bear's Anime Club. If you missed out on the summer anime season and you want to know what I was watching, what I liked and what I disliked, here's the video for you. There's going to be a new video coming out Monday. I'll tell you right now, folks, my next video, Pet Bear's Anime Club, that comes out on Monday, I'm going to talk about Halloween anime that isn't spooky. Non-spooky anime. If you want to get into the holiday spirit, but you don't want to be scared, you can watch some stuff. Now, is one of them action that involves vampires and is definitely not for the faint of heart? Certainly, but it's not spooky. It's just violent. But also, there's some that are just cute because I want to mix it all up. Baering the List is another thing I do. I did a silly one there. Burn the Witch. I haven't seen Burn the Witch yet. I would like to see Burn the Witch. The problem is that Burn the Witch, for whatever reason, last week when they put out the episodes, like 3 episodes, Crunchyroll put it out at like 8 p.m. Eastern, and they put it out like right before all the new anime started, so I just haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, because all the fucking new anime started. Like, immediately, all the new anime started, and it's just a fucking lot. Baering the List, that's a weekly series I do. It's pretty fun. You can watch that. All right, we're going to talk about some new anime. I'm going to start working on the injection machine, because that's the second half here, because that's what we're going to do. Not a lot of anime to talk about. Now, if you were here on Saturday, you know that I talked about fucking 6 shows, and I didn't talk about all the shows that came out. I will say this. Haikyuu is going to be for me. I will talk about Haikyuu at the end of the year, but I do not have plans to talk about weekly Haikyuu. One, because it's kind of slow. It's just they're taking their sweet-ass time with the volleyball games, so sometimes not a lot happens. And also, I kind of find that since anime is something that I talk about on stream, but it's also something that is my entertainment. Haikyuu. The second half of the 4th season just started. Just started up. So it's back. It was on a longer hiatus than normal because of COVID, but it's back. But I really like it. But this is stuff that's entertainment for me, but it's also work because I do take notes on what I watch. I just like it. I think it's important for me to have a series that I don't take notes on. Like last season, because of just having a lot of time on my hands, I finally started watching for real ReZero because I bounced off the first 5 episodes years ago when it first aired because I was like, this isn't for me. I don't think this is particularly that good. But then people I really respect were like, it fucking gets good, Pat, and it does get good. But I didn't really talk about ReZero as it aired. It was an anime for me, and I think that's important, I guess, is to have the thing that's just for me. So now that's the show that's for me, is going to be Haikyuu. This season, I might say something like, damn, if you need something to marathon, Haikyuu is pretty rad. You could get into Haikyuu if you wanted to. I could say something like that, but honestly, just, it's good. So the first show I want to talk about is I'm Standing on a Million Lives. So this was a show that I didn't watch. It came out on Friday. Right now, 9 shows that I'm interested in, or 8 shows I'm interested in, or was interested in, come out on Friday. So I'm not going to watch all of those on time. And I am not probably going to continue with this series. I think that I'm Standing on a Million Lives is something that, if I hear people are really into it, I might go back to it. Which is the same thing I'm looking at the Dragon Quest anime. That Dragon Quest anime looks kind of interesting, but I'm kind of I don't know if that's something I'm gonna definitely check out. I think I'm kind of right now just wait and see with that. We'll see if it becomes something that I'm really interested in, but right now I'm meh, I'm okay. With checking it out. So I'll tell you what the premise is, though, because maybe you will be interested in this anime, Standing in a Million Lives. So it is an isekai. And I think the premise is interesting, but it didn't really grab me. So there's a dude, kind of a loner, just kind of going through his life, just doing his thing. And then he gets sent to a world because it's an isekai. He gets sent to a magical world. And a game master, just some sort of creator, says, all right, you're going to be in this virtual world. You're going to do stuff. I'm having trouble figuring out how to get this to look right. You're going to be this virtual world. You're going to do stuff. I'm going to give you a quest. You gotta finish this quest. You and 2 other people that you don't really know. Here's the thing. When you finish this quest, I'm going to give you 10 more. Or you're going to do 10 total. Every time you fulfill a quest, another person is going to join the party along the way. If you die in the game, you can restart. If you don't complete the quest, you're dead. You're dead for real. And, also, spin the wheel to decide what kind of class you have, and then our main character draws peasant class. So he can't use a sword. He ends up with, like, a farming implement. So it's not an overpowered main character. So if you're looking for an isekai without an overpowered main character archetype, this might be the show for you. It seems like it could be dark, but it also has a weird sense of humor, and I'm kind of into that and kind of not into that. This mix of, is this a serious show or is it not a serious show? And I can't tell what the tone is. Because, like, the very first thing, like, the girl who is the warrior is really scared, so she throws her sword at a goblin instead of swinging it. And then he's like, that's how you fight, like, which is reasonable. So I'm like, okay, this could be interesting. I bet this is, like, kind of funny in some parts and then, like, gets serious almost out of nowhere. Like, I kind of get the vibe of what this show is going to be. So yeah, I'm going to pass on it for now. I might come back to it if I see clips that engage me, or if people I know are watching it and are like, nah, this is the shit, this is the thing. Pat, you got to watch this anime. Which happens. People do recommend things that I was like, meh about. People can be like, yo, actually, this is great. So yeah, not really feeling it. What I was feeling, and what is approved, is By the Grace of the Gods, which is on Funimation. It's also on Hulu. Oh yeah, I'm Standing a Million Lives is a Crunchyroll show. And By the Grace of Gods is on Funimation, and Hulu comes out on Sundays. What was I going to say about this thing? Oh, yeah. So, okay. So it's an isekai, but it is a slice of life isekai. There may be hardships, but I think most of the time it's going to be pretty chill. It has the vibes of this is going to be a chill anime. So let's enjoy this chillness. All right. So. Okay. Just making sure I slide this piece in right. Okay. Goes in like that. Got it. Figuring it out, y'all. Figuring it all out. Okay, so it opens with Ryoma. He's 11. Now, this show doesn't, like I know, and now you know, this show is an isekai, okay? This show is a person dies, gets reincarnated in a fantasy world show, all right? You and I both know that. We both know that is the deal with this show. We can come into the show knowing that that is the deal. But this show does not present itself as an isekai at first. It presents itself as a fantasy show. So we'll take it for its word, and we'll talk about that as it goes. Ryoma, he's 11. He lives alone in the forest. with an army of slimes. He has control over slimes. We learn a bit about how he raises the slimes. Now, I should say this. The slimes are computer generated. They are CG. Everything else is digital. The slimes are CG. But because they are slimes, I don't hate it. Like, I don't hate that they're like the way they look and move around, because they're slimes. It's okay that they don't quite mesh that well. I don't mind it as much as I've minded like Gibate and other shows that use that, or like So I'm the Eighth Son, so what? When dragons showed up, it looked terrible. All of the monsters in Ari Fuerta looked terrible. This time, these monsters don't look terrible. I don't mind it. Okay, so how does this fit in? Fits in like that. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Ejection machine. Hey, look, we're putting our parts of our machine together. Hell yeah. Snap them all together, right? Okay. So, slimes, they're fine. We see a shrine to 3 people, and then he talks about how he lives a very peaceful life until he sees some humans in the forest. Oh no, he hasn't talked to humans in 3 years. These soldiers or knights or whatever they are, they're standing around a man who was hurt. The healer is out of magic. And Ryoma hasn't spoken to people in years because he just lived alone with his slimes. So he's like, I don't know what to... I haven't talked in a while. I'm not sure what to do. So he's talking in, like, broken Japanese. But he basically says, like, hey, I've got medicine. We'll help. And he helps them, and he's like, hey, come to my house. Your friend can rest. And the head of the person definitely in charge of the soldiers or knights or whoever they are is like, hey, I used to be a tamer. A slime was my first thing that I ever tamed. And so they kind of bond, and that's cute. We find out that Ryoma can use barrier magic, which it surprises them because he's a kid. He can apparently use a lot of different kinds of magic, like ice magic, and they're all like, what's up? Is this like a mage or something pretending to be a kid? Is this some sort of evil? What's happening right now? What's going on? Why can this kid use all this very cool magic? What's the deal? And he tells them a story that he's 11 and his grandparents died when he was 8, and the village wouldn't accept him. So he lives in the forest by himself with all his slimes. And they're like, a kid can't live alone. And his defense magic is really good, but he doesn't have any offensive magic. Anyway, they hang out. They leave. And Hughes, the guy who was hurt but is better now, is like, hey, if you ever need any help, you come and you ask for Hughes. I'll help you out, which is just nice. Seems like a nice guy. Anyway, they leave, and then he's like, I wish I didn't have to lie to them. And then we find out what really happened, which is Ryoma died 3 years ago. He was an office worker in his 20s or so, or 30s maybe. He was a big, beefy guy, which was a surprise, but he's a big beef boy, big muscular boy. And then he died, and he met 3 gods in another world, and they're like, hey, if you want, we'll transfer you to this world and help you out. And he's like, why? And they said, well, your world, nobody can use magic, but there's a lot of magic there. So when we open the portal and bring you over, we'll be bringing along a bunch of magic that we need in our world because we're running out of magic here. Which I don't know if that's ever going to come up again, but that's kind of interesting. And he's like, wait, can I use magic? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then he finds out how he died. And he died because he sneezed a bunch and rolled out of bed and hit his head and died. And he's fucking shocked by this. Because he was like, he took pride in being strong. Like, it's very clear that he had an abusive father, and that he dealt with a shitty boss, and he apparently really, really prided himself on being a capable, strong person and like not succumbing to that kind of stuff, being physically strong. That's why he had all the muscles. And he's like, shit, I can't believe I died that way. So he's like, well, what do you want me to do in the world? They're like, no, you're going to be 8 years old. You're going to be able to use a bunch of different kind of magic. You don't have a quest or anything. Just live your life. And so he leaves with instructions. And he's like, he's got a book with a bunch of instructions in it. And he finds out he kept all his skills from his previous life, which are not magic skills. He's just very strong, but he's got a tiny little body. And they were defense-based. And he tames some slimes. He decides to live alone and research slimes. And then at the end of the episode, Reinhardt, who was the guy that he saved, that guy was a duke. Apparently that guy was a duke this whole time. He comes back at the end of the episode with his bodyguards and some other people, including a blonde girl that was in the opening song, which is about his age. And I think like him being like, oh, there's this girl, kind of encourages him to maybe go with them and go on a big adventure. Because I know this is a slice of life about a bunch of adventurers and him being real helpful. And then the closing song is a bunch of animal girls that we haven't met yet, singing and doing stuff. So I guess this show is also going to be harem-y because there are some animal girls. And yeah, so this is going to be probably a little harem-y, which is not necessarily a surprise and isn't necessarily a negative, although it is somewhat of a negative. But mostly just like, okay, so this is approved. I'm going to keep watching this. I thought this was really fun. I enjoy isekai that are kind of chill. Hopefully it holds up. But first off, I'm interested. I thought the opening song was cute. I think overall it's a pretty cute show, and I am interested in seeing more of it. The other show I watched, because I didn't have a lot to watch here, as I said, I'm kind of watching a few things just for me, was I watched... make sure I got the right piece here. I need this piece. Haha. Pat, I moved that Sleeping Princess in the Demon Castle being renamed Savage Princess in the Demon Castle to dirty. Well, so I think it should be called Sleepless Princess in a Demon Castle, which is actually the name of the first episode, because she's sleepy because she can't get enough sleep. But she is also a savage. You're not wrong. Okay, so the other show I watched, which came out today, is also on Funimation. Funimation getting the Crunchyroll getting all the stuff I want to watch on Fridays and Saturdays. Funimation getting all the stuff I want to watch on Mondays and set on Sunday. Sorry, I'm trying to get this piece lined up here. It's not lining up right. Or well. Hey, this show also approved. I might drop it if it gets kind of repetitive, because it did feel a little repetitive in the first episode. But I'm digging it. So, the Demon King has kidnapped the Princess Silas. And that's bad. Donner, the hero, proclaims that he will rescue the princess. But this show is not it is not an action series following Donner and his party as they travel a great distance and try to get stronger and stronger to eventually defeat the Demon King and rescue the princess. This show is about this princess being held captive, and she just wants a good night's sleep. She can't get a good night's sleep. So it should be called The Sleepless Princess. Oh, I should also say that I was like, who is this voice actress? I know this voice actress. Who is this? I don't remember her name, unfortunately, but I do remember she is also Rem from ReZero and Hestia from Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? So she definitely sounds, this version of her sounds a lot like Hestia. So that's where I was like, oh, okay, I know who this is. Um, and then once I heard her again, I was like, oh, also yes, this is definitely also Rem. So, uh, okay, so we got to put some stickers on here. Put that there. Okay, so one of these is the one with an arrow. So on this side, we're just going to put these on here. We're going to put our first stickers on while I talk about this show. So she just wants a pillow. And so then like text comes up, quest, get a pillow, get a better pillow. The solution is there are some teddy bear demons that show up to give her food, and at first it looks like she's going to murder those teddy bear demons to take their stuffing. It very much looks like she's about to fucking straight up murder these dudes. But instead, she just brushes them and takes their excess fur from grooming them to use, and they, in exchange for brushing, give her the key to her cell so she can go explore. This happens multiple times. In exchange for brushing, which they seem to really like. Why wouldn't they? It's being brushed. That rules. In exchange for brushing, they help her out by giving her the key. She, let's see. Oh, yeah. She goes on a scavenger hunt to find the items to make a pillow. Now, to be fair, she doesn't try to escape, and this is a comedy, so, like, it makes sense that she didn't try to escape because it's a comedy show, but also she doesn't try to escape because, all right, sorry, I gotta just see which one of these, one of these two. She also doesn't try to escape because, she's in she's a young person and in a position of like, to get away would be very difficult for her about how far she would have to travel. So instead, she just sneaks out, get the stuff she needs, makes it. And the new pillow lets her rest comfortably. And the Demon King, who is going to also be comedy, he shows up to yell at her for escaping for a little while, but doesn't feel like interrupting her sleep because she looks so cute when she's sleeping. And then but she gets marks on her face, and her heavy. She's gotta wear a crown to keep her bangs in place, but her crown is heavy, so she wants to make a cute headband. And then a demon with an arm made out of a bunch of scissors arrives, and she trades her scissors for the crown. She makes a cute crown headband, but she needs to make comfy sheets, and she starts hunting for cloaks. And she runs. So this is the part where, as said by Dirty, it should be the Savage Princess, because she runs into a ghost shroud who she kills easily and just takes the sheet from him and makes a sheet so she can sleep. Again, the Demon King doesn't want to wake her up and yell at her because she's so cute and she's getting her rest. So there's an ongoing gag of him being like, I'm going to give her what for, and then not wanting to. And then the Armadillo Man, who is one of his henchmen, being like, so tomorrow. Okay, so the heroes party are having trouble getting to the princess. She also can't remember his name. That wasn't even the most savage moment of the episode. Yes, certainly. So she goes looking for a new bed because now she's hearing snoring all the time. So she wants to go find a more comfortable bed or a more comfortable place to sleep. And she finds this. Oh, here's a side note. All of the minor characters, all these demons, are the best. That ghost shroud, before it got killed, it was hanging out with a reindeer, and they were going to go move a thing, and they finished moving a thing, and then they high-fived. And they're cute. These are fun demons. This is a fun demon place, which I'm 100% on board for. We also meet a skeleton man that has an arrow through his skull, like completely through his skull, which is, I guess, how he died. He was not a skeleton man, and then he got an arrow to the head, and then he's dead. And it's never mentioned, and I think that's great. Um, uh, let's see. Okay, so she finds this shield that has like the center of it has this element that will allow her to float because it uses wind, and she just wants the wind part of it. She doesn't want the whole shield. So she grabs this like mean. He's like a nasty voiced diamond, and she just puts him in a sack and starts slamming him on the shield, which is fucking savage. Again, this is a savage moment where she's just like, "This is how I will accomplish my task." Again, another very savage moment from this character, and it's just like, "Holy shit! What? Why are you doing this?" It was very funny. I think let's finish assembly and then we can. Oh no, we got to put stickers on here before we put this on. We got to put the stickers on. Let's get that in. So then she gets that part, and then she breaks the shield. That also has the benefit of helping out the hero, although she doesn't know she's helping out the hero. It just inadvertently is helping him out because that was meant to trap him in a dungeon, and instead it just helps him out. Then she slips into lava and just straight up dies. She just dies. That's it. That's the end of the show. She's dead. No, she gets revived by the demon cleric, and she's in a coffin. And she's like, "Oh, this would actually be a great place to sleep because it has a lid, but it's not cute and comfy, so it needs modifications." So she takes the demon cleric, who is a horned demon, and slams his head into the coffin to scrape things up and buff it out, and then uses a slime. I also want to say, when she slipped and died in lava, she slipped on a slime, also killing that slime. So she then uses the slime to polish the wood that she had used him, and then lines it with the other stuff, and then sleeps. And then she's now comfy, and the Demon King wonders if he should have kidnapped a different princess because she's just very relaxed, and he thinks he may have fucked up. And that's the end of it. Now, as I said, this show could get annoying over time. It could get repetitive. The jokes could stop landing. But right now, I'm into it. I think this is a very funny show. Oops, I've been on the wrong thing this whole time, y'all, so we got back in. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, I am interested in this. I would like to continue watching the show. I think this is a very neat anime. So, approved. Again, on Funimation. Let's see. Are there shows that I want to keep that I haven't watched yet that I would like to watch? Yes. I still have not seen Yashahime. I need to watch that, the Inuyasha sequel that I have been waiting for a long time. I want to watch that. I haven't watched season 2 of the Regular and Magic School. So I'm hopefully going to watch that and see if I want to start watching that over the weekend, because that's another show that comes out on Friday. Yeah, there's a bunch of anime that I didn't get a chance to watch yet. And there's still a series that I didn't watch the first episode of. Like, I don't know how the Dragon Quest show is. I don't know how... there's a couple things that haven't come out yet for me to watch, let alone things I didn't watch yet. I don't know how... I don't know how Kuma Drive is going to be, or whatever it's called. There is that other show about... There's a show by the Grace of the Gods, but there's also the show about the god, the girl that proclaims herself to be a god, and the world is going to end in 30 days. Now let's start a light-hearted show, I guess. So far, Kami-sama, Savage Princess, and Cat Dog are my animes. I'll keep watching this season. Well, Cat Dog, with a cat and a dog every day is fun, is only a minute and a half. I'm also going to keep trying... I'm going to see how that rail show, rail Romanesque. I kind of want to find out what the fuck is happening with these rail lords. I'm going to keep watching that. Uwakakaru, I'm going to keep watching the sports climbing girls because that is a sports anime and it is in one time a sports anime and another time it is a girls having fun after school club thing. Over the moon for you, I definitely might drop. I feel like I might drop Over the Moon for You. Because I don't know. I thought the first episode was cool, but now I'm going to be interested to see where it goes. You know what I mean? I'm not sure where that show goes. All right, we got one more piece to put on. Sorry, and there's some more stickers. We're going to finish this today. I told you this would be a short build. This would not be a long project. It was only one sheet here and some stickers, and we don't have that many stickers left to put on here. So, quick build. But yeah, there's still, like I said, I might try a couple shows that I haven't seen. There are a few that just didn't sound interesting to me, but other people might be great. Jujutsu Kaisen is definitely the top of the. This didn't hit me, but if anybody tells me if anyone whose opinion I value tells me, oh Pat, you gotta be watching it. How are you not watching the show? I'll give it another shot. The first episode didn't grab me, and there's so much good anime out that I just didn't end up watching it. All right, we got one more piece to put on, but I want to try to get some of these stickers on first here, and then we'll put that on later. All right, so that's. Which one is the front one? Which one is the front one? All right, well, we'll figure it out. But yeah, if y'all are watching anything like Dirty, if you're checking out any shows, feel free to let me know what you're watching. If you're watching some old stuff, if you're watching just television because you don't really watch anime, if there's anything that you're checking out this season, let me know what it is. And because I always like to hear from y'all. But like I said, I'm watching a bunch of stuff. And then the things that are coming up that I'm going to be checking out. Let me look at the other things. I'm going to keep watching Black Clover because there's not a lot on Tuesdays anyway, and eventually they're going to fucking finish off this. I watched 5 minutes of Talentless Nana. I didn't even watch the full episode. No thanks. Just not feeling it. Just not feeling that show. I like the idea of a bunch of gifted kids trying to figure out how they can fight these monsters, and then the main girl is not gifted. I kind of like that idea, but it just didn't really speak to me. I don't like the art. Let's see. Black Clover, I'm going to keep watching. I might try Ikeburo Westgate Park, but it doesn't seem like something I'm going to like, so I might not try that. And then, of course, I'm going to watch. Look, of course I'm going to watch Kuma 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 Bear. Of course I'm going to fucking watch Kuma 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 Bear. It's an isekai about a girl in a bear costume that is overpowered because her bear costume is overpowered. And she's slightly embarrassed about using the bear costume, but it gets results, so she's going to keep doing it. And yeah, I'm going to fucking watch that anime. You bet your ass I'm going to watch Kuma 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 Bear. I'm probably not going to watch Our Last Crusade or The Rise of a New World. That's just a Romeo and Juliet, but with fantasy. I am going to watch Noblesse. I'm going to fucking watch Noblesse. And then I might try Kuma Drive on Thursday, but I don't know. Also, but I am also on Thursday. I'm going to watch Adachi and Shimaru, because I like some Yuri romance slice of life. I like that. I know it's going to be a slow burn. I've been told it's a very slow burn, but I'm into it. I'm going to check it out. Urban Buddha is watching Rent a Girlfriend. Can't say I liked it. Kind of hated most of the characters, but I watched it anyway. I feel you. I understand. Sometimes you just want to finish a thing, even if you didn't really like it. You are compelled to keep watching it, and I understand that, and I totally get that. I've been there. Uh, I've definitely uh, dealt with that before, where I'm just like, I don't like this, but I do want to see it through. Okay, so where does this sticker go? We only got a couple more stickers left, so I'm going to try this out. I'm still digging through the Shonen Jump catalog and binging through We Never Learn, which is a cute harem show. Yeah, We Never Learn, I think, is really fun. So I've talked about We Never Learn a bit. We Never Learn is a show I like, but I don't love. And the reason I can't love it is because of the teacher character. Because it is a trope. Look, do I like that she's stern because she cares? And she's really a mess of an actual person, like she's a messy person. I think that is cute and adorable. I'm always going to think that's cute and adorable. Dirty wants to hear that gong. Here comes the gong. Do I like that the teacher has moments where maybe she's falling in love with her student? I absolutely don't enjoy that. I hate that very much, thank you. Gong, please. Yes. A quiet gong. There you go. Nice quiet gong. But I do like Lashbrook. I do like the college girl, the senpai, because one, she is aware of all of the romance stuff that's happening, but doesn't feel it herself, although maybe she does. But I like having somebody who can just be like, "Oh, this is your deal? Well, I'm gonna make that annoying for you." Uh, I do like that. Someone that kind of like is playful with him. Um, no, I think she's a mess of a person too. She's got the real shit to deal with. Yeah. Uh, the manga has the first kind of ending of its kind. Yeah, the ending of the second. I haven't read the manga. I've only watched the anime. The second, I will say this: that he seems to make a choice about what girl he likes and who he picks is incredibly surprising. The end of the second part of it, which they called it season 2, it's really just a continuation of the first season. It really is just part 2 of the first season, but they do call it the second season, which is a choice. It makes a choice. But yeah, I think overall it's pretty good. But I haven't read the manga, but I would say the show, yeah, the fact that it makes a choice is pretty interesting. I found that I liked We Never Learn a lot more than I liked the quintessential quintuplets, which a lot of people like the quintessential quintuplets more. The second season of that is coming. But I like the main character We Never Learn. I don't love the main character of quintessential quintuplets. He's kind of an asshole. Whereas I like outside of the teacher, I like all the characters in We Never Learn. The teacher going after the student. So dirty. Like it is like there are odd situations where she is going above and beyond to help and it's fine, but there are awkward moments where like there are inappropriate moments where like she starts to like think about him and it's just inappropriate. Their relationship is inappropriate. Now it's not like I forget the show where there's a romantic comedy series where the dude is tsundere. Notan, I think, is the name of the girl, and she's like just whatever, but she understands that he's being tsundere. And there's another character that's deaf that thinks that the teacher is being tsundere to her, but he's just not that way. But then maybe he is, and I was like, hey, why is this a fucking plot line? Get this plot line out of here. The teacher's not going in that hard. No, astrology. She's not going in that hard, but it is like there are like moments where she's just like inebriated, and he's like carrying her home, and it's like we don't have to do this, anime. We could choose not to do this, and it'd be fine. We are choosing to do this. Okay, we're doing this, anime. Okay, anime. I guess we're doing this. We don't need to be doing this. I'm just saying she's my least favorite part of the show. Uh, yes, I'm just saying like it is it is the OVA has it as well, where like she smiles, kind of like against whatever, and there's a whole thing. And of course OVAs don't count, but they do count. Um, it's just it's fairly inappropriate in a way that I'm just like I would love to this to not be a part of the show. What if this wasn't a part of the show? But I generally feel that about like also I feel that way about this anime is perfect, except the teacher is a drunken mess, and maybe don't be a drunken mess in front of students if you're the club advisor. Like, it's the only part of Laid Back Camp I don't like is the addition of the teacher being drunk while they're camping. Like, not a big fan of that. It was the part of, most recently, of Diary of Our Days of the Breakwater. Not a big fan of that. Just not a big fan of, like, the teacher character who is an alcoholic. Yeah, just not my style. Anyway, so the author of the manga made a decision for ending the series in a pretty unique way. I would like to mention. Okay, that's cool. Again, I've only watched the anime, and the anime, sorry, the second half of the anime, season 2, or the second half of the double, is basically just like I know who I like, and even then, that's pretty shocking and pretty surprising. Well, we did it. We did it, y'all. We finished the injection model. This is the injection machine. You can see right here. This is the thing. Look, it's even got its like buttons to turn it on and turn it off. This is the thing. What makes the model kits? This is the injection machine. It's a 160 scale model kit. This was not hard. We did this in an hour. So obviously this was not a difficult kit. I would be weird to call it a high grade. It's a non-graded kit. But I think it looks neat. I like all the little machine parts in there, and it's like yeah. Thank you, Dirty. Yeah, we finished 2 kits in one stream. That might be a record. That we did 2 whole kits in we finished the kit and then started and finished the kit. It's very rare that we even do a 1-day build, let alone another build, finish a thing, and then start a brand new one and finish it. Even the SD Gundams we can kind of do in one stream. But yeah, this is a cute little kit. I like it. I would say if you see this, I'd recommend it. It's a nice little thing. I wish it was bigger. I wish it was like 140 instead of 160. I wish it was a little bit bigger. But it's still pretty neat. And I think that's going to do it for our stream tonight, folks. We are going to go on to Raid. Sorry. I'm very stuffed up, and I apologize. I'm going to drink a little more water here. I look forward to Lego Machine that makes Lego. Indeed. So we're going to raid. Folks, we always end the stream with a raid. So if you feel like coming along for that, please do. We will raid somebody who I think is awesome. And generally, they just are cool streamers. They're West Coast folks usually because they will stream later. Sometimes they're East Coast people. But we're going to see what people are playing, and we're probably going to go hang out with them. Oh, well, we do raid her a bit, quite a bit, but she is rad. So we're going to go raid Mary Kish, who is playing Dead by Daylight with some people, and I think one of the persons playing with is Hentai PhD. So I think we'll go give her a raid. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Feel free to come on the raid. If you don't want to come on the raid, you don't have to. But Actually, it sounds like they're ending the stream, so we're not going to raid. Apparently, we they're wrapping up. So we're not going to go raid Mary Kish. Sorry, folks. I teased you. We're not raiding Mary Kish because she is just finishing up the stream. Like, literally, they're all saying goodbye. Oh, yes. Hey, K Jedi. Yes, we are at the end of the stream. My next stream, I didn't say this, folks. Folks, I didn't say this as we get this raid ready. Um, I'll tell you that my next build stream is this Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 9 to 11. We'll start a brand new kit. I don't know what kit we're going to do, but I'll let you know on my Twitter that day. I have a few things that my my $10 patrons can choose from. But this Wednesday, I'm playing Twitch Sings. I'm going to sing some more songs. Twitch Sings is ending at the end of December, so I'm going to try to do a monthly stream. And this this Wednesday at 9 p.m. will be that stream, 9 p.m. Eastern. This Wednesday, Twitch Sings, and then on Thursday will be another build stream. So we're going to go raid Xandra. Xandra is playing Hades. Xandra rules, so we're going to go give Xandra some love. Xandra made all my emotes, so feel free to come along on that. You're under no obligation to do so. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great night. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.